China's urbanization process could be considered the largest human migration since the 19th century. In the next 2 decades, there will be nearly 400 million Chinese people migrating from rural to urban areas. However, the country's current household registration system is still curbing the process. The system divides Chinese people into urban and rural residents. Rural residents who migrate to cities cannot enjoy the same social welfare as city residents can. In some big Chinese cities, such as Beijing and Shanghai, city residents who don't have local household registration are even not allowed to buy houses and cars. Meanwhile, for those who want to transfer from rural to urban household registration, need to give up their land contract rights for collectively owned land. The distorted system led to an interesting new term. It's semi-urbanization. It refers to those migrant workers who work in Chinese cities, but they'll eventually return back to rural areas once they retire. This group of people has already exceeded 200 million in China. They are only superficially improving the country's urbanization rate. It has not been a substantial change to the country's urbanization process. A survey was conducted by the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences in 2011 to find out how many rural residents want to migrate to cities. The survey covered nearly 110,000 rural residents. Surprisingly enough, over 80% of respondents don't want to migrate to cities. One of the major reasons is that they have to give up their land rights before they can transfer to an urban household registration. People worry they'll lose their only source of income. This would be a real problem if they could not survive in cities and need to return back to rural areas. As China Business News reported, recently the State Council announced that it would reform China's household registration system. The new system unified the previous urban and rural systems. That is to say, the government would no longer divide Chinese people into urban and rural residents. Apart from that, the new policy also allows people to transfer from rural to urban hukou, so they can still keep their rural land contract rights. This could be considered as a remarkable step forward for the country's household registration reform. However, it still brings huge challenges to completely reforming the country's household registration system. One of the major ones is the heavy financial burden by the Chinese government. The Chinese Academy of Social Sciences published a report last year showing that China's urbanization rate could reach 68% by 2030. Until then, there would be nearly 400 million people moving to Chinese cities. However, according to the research, the government needs to spend more than 130,000 yuan, about $21,000 on average, to move each rural resident to cities. Don't go away, because up next in Money Matters, we're talking about China's Great Migration. Stay tuned.